Hi, I'm Stephen James, and today I'm going to help you push the torch enameling technique into different directions. Our first project today is a wired words project, and we're going to be encasing a word, a copper wire word, with black enamel. And I'm very excited about the idea of making these words that are customized just to you. And so let's get started by getting our wire cut. And we are working with a 20 gauge copper wire, and it is often covered with a tarnish protecting a coating. And what I'd like for you to do is to actually remove that. And so we're going to use our torch to remove the coating. And we have our wire on our kiln brick, and we have our torch, okay? So let's get our torch on. So one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do when you're firing at home is to be wearing your safety goggles, safety glasses. And I've removed the coating from the wire. You've noticed that there was a lot of smoke coming off of it as well. And so it's important for you to work in a well-ventilated area as well. We're going to quench this or allow it to cool all on its own. And as I mentioned, we have our safety goggles, which I'd like you to wear whenever you're firing. Okay? I've actually prepared a wire. I've removed the coating. And what I'd like for us to do is to get started creating our word. And today, we're making hello. And we're going to use basic wire wrapping tools to create that word. Now, I think it's really important for you to practice writing out the word in cursive. That's the script that I'd like you to use. I've written it right here, but as I write it today, I'm training my brain, and I'm looking at how I'm going to form the letters. I'm training my brain and ultimately, hopefully, training my hands to make certain movements with the tools and get the bends and what I need to in the wire. So we've had enough practice. Let's come on over here to our wire. So we're going to get started. And I am making my first letter. And the wire is so malleable because we've hit it with the torch that you can actually use your fingers to do a lot of the bends and a lot of the curves and whatnot. If you're making an enclosed letter, like E, I want you to make sure that the enclosure is pretty large, okay? And you will use different parts of the tool to make different sizes of letters and loops. And I have finished this. Now, if your letters are too short or what have you, you can always start the process over again. I have created one that we're going to be working with today, and what's really important is that you have a little bit of a tail at the end of your wired word. This is too long. We need to actually trim some of it. Now, you can see I have had a lot of practice with this, and I do think that it takes some work to be able to work with wire in this way. It's very easy for us to write cursive, but to create it in wire can be a bit of a challenge. So you can visit our website and see some tutorials on how to form some of the more challenging letters. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have my little tail that I'm going to use for the next part of our process. We're going to go back over to our kiln brick, and we're going to take the piece that I just cut. Now, earlier, I had used my torch, and it was loose, and I'm going to secure it now because I want it in a secure position. I have my kiln brick in place. The thing that I'm going to add to it now is my plate of black enamel, okay? The black enamel is the perfect enamel for this particular technique. I think it holds up to the flame quite well. You'll also notice that I have a bowl of vermiculite, and that's a crucial ingredient for this technique. So I'm now going to put on my goggles. And the one thing that I'm going to leave off today, but it is essential that you actually wear it, is a dust mask. It's essential that you wear it because you're working with loose enamels. And I'm not wearing one today because I want you to be able to hear my directions very clearly. So we've got our torch in place, we've got our enameling plate in place, and we also have our vermiculite. You're also going to use a pair of wood-handled tweezers, and we're going to get our wire in place like so. And what I'd like for us to do is to get our torch on. It's a pretty long flame. We're going to heat the wire. We want it to come up to a very bright red and golden color. Here we go. And you can see hello is very bright. I'm going to tap it a little bit, bring it up into the flame. You're going to fire that glass. Here we go. You're going to do this for about 20 times. You really want a nice, even coat of enamel around the entire piece. And always tap after each application of enamel. And here we go. This is looking really great. I'm actually going to stop. I have about 17 more to go. But when you are completed with that step, I want you to put it into your vermiculite and allow it to cool. I've already done one for you that has been cooled, and it's ready to be finished off. You can see that I have my little tail right here, and I need to snip that away, and then I need to finish it off with more of the black enamel. So I'm going to grab this, and it sounds odd that you would cut through glass, but you're going to do so. Just snip it off. Now what you'll notice is that there is exposed wire and a very sharp edge. We need to finish that off. We're going to use the same technique. This time, however, we're going to concentrate all of our focus on the end of the piece. So let's get our torch back on. We are only focused on this area of the project. And then you dip it in. And you continue to dip until you've finished off the piece, you've covered the exposed wire. And again, you should be tapping to remove excessive amounts of the enamel. Okay? Turn our torch off. And again, this needs to go into the vermiculite to cool completely. I would leave it in the vermiculite for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Now, once the project has cooled, you can immerse it into a little bit of water to remove any of the dust that's coming up from the vermiculite. And we have our piece finished over here. Hello. Very exciting. I love this project for its simplicity, and therefore I've used a very simple leather cord. And I have also manipulated the wire so that I'm working with really small words, and those two can become earrings. So I'm using a very basic jump ring to make the connection. You'll notice that I'm using the loop within the H, but I could have also used the loop within the O. I could have also dangled it from one of the L's. So this is a great project for working with wire, and we are going to be moving on, and we're going to be working with acrylic enamels in just a few minutes.